You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 Midday News starts now.
Madison police are asking you to slow down what they're doing to help keep you safe, especially on this holiday weekend.
Yeah, plus more fallout from the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade, how federal health leaders are now trying to work around new abortion bans.
And President Joe Biden is in Spain for today's NATO summit, what he's announcing as Russia's war with Ukraine rages on. Thanks so much for joining us for WAAY 31 Midday News. I'm Megan Reyna.
And I'm Chris Tatum. So much to get to. Right now, though, we want to check in. Actually,
we're going to in a moment.
Yeah, we're going to get to some local news that is
right.
just coming into our WAAY 31 newsroom. Almost got ahead of myself there. State health leaders are looking into whether a local doctor may have caused a woman's death by supplying her with painkillers. Now, the Alabama Medical Board just temporarily yanked Decatur Dr. Sammy Beck-Dash's medical license. That's him you see there on your screen. It says Beck-Dash had a sexual relationship with 21-year-old Caitlin Whitworth and that he wrote 5 opioid prescriptions for her in a span of just 6 months. The commission will decide in September whether to permanently revoke Beck-Dash's license.
Time is 11:01. We now want to check in with WAAY 31's storm tracker meteorologist Grace Anello.
Yeah, Grace, pop-up storms you've been talking about today. How soon might we start to see those?
Yes, well, that's the question on everybody's mind, Chris, right? Well, you guys are right. We will see some pop-up storms in the area, but at least for right now, we are dry. Good afternoon, Huntsville. Right now for you, temperature in the low 80s. Plenty of those white puffy clouds in the sky, but at least we are dry. Further confirmed by the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network, but it's not going to stay that way all day, just like Chris alluded to. Temperatures right now for your afternoon, Scottsboro 81. The same can be said for Guntersville. Decatur, you're 83, and Muscle Shoals keeping us warm all week. You're at 86 right now for your temperature. Getting you out the door for the rest of the day, well, by the time we get to noon, we'll be talking upper 80s for most of us. By the time we get to those after lunchtime hours, we're talking low 90s, bringing us to our high temperature for the day. Low 90s for most of us across the board. Could be a little bit warmer in parts of the Shoals. Well, we will have rain back in the forecast this afternoon. I've got the timing on that for you coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Grace, we thank you so much. Time right now, 11:02, and Madison police asking people to slow down right now.
Yeah, they say they're going to increase patrol because more people might be hitting the roads this holiday weekend, and police say the biggest problem is distracted drivers. They say they will give out tickets to those drivers texting and driving until they pay attention.
We can write 2 million citations, but until someone cares to realize, okay, you know what, I might hurt myself or someone else, nothing's going to change.
Police say it will especially be important to pay attention this weekend because there will be more people on the road for 4th of July, whether they're traveling or just going out and about. Well, the Alabama Department of Transportation says there will be no temporary road closures of interstates after noon Friday. There will be, rather. I said there will not be. There will be temporary road closures. This will help with holiday travel. There will not be temporary road closures to help with holiday travel. AAA says 42 million Americans will take to the roads this weekend, and traffic experts also say travel times may take twice as long Thursday and Friday night. Meanwhile, airlines are expecting the lowest number of passengers since 2011.
So I was reading that a little bit earlier, too, about how they are making sure that all the roads are open, that they can keep open, no construction projects, to keep that traffic moving with that much traffic.
Exactly. With construction projects, they want to make sure.
Read the same report earlier today.
Right. Want to make sure that's not causing any unnecessary traffic. Well, some good news. If you're hitting the road, the price of gas is down. According to Gas Buddy in Alabama, the average price, $4.47. National average price, $4.87. That's down nearly 9 cents from a week ago. Chris?
Well, federal health leaders are trying right now to work around new abortion bans that more states are putting in place after that decision to overturn Roe versus Wade last week. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says right now it's working to try to improve patient privacy. It also says it's working to give people more access to abortion pills. Several states right now say they will welcome patients from other states who are seeking abortions.
We have filed a lawsuit that asks the courts to clarify that Wisconsin's 19th century abortion ban is not in effect.
By the way, some cities also trying to implement ways for women to still have access to abortion. Cincinnati, Ohio leaders voting today on whether to make abortion available through the city's health insurance plan.
In Alabama, the Human Life Protection Act makes it illegal for anyone to perform an abortion unless the pregnant woman's health is at serious risk. So that's leaving many doctors caught in the middle, forced to make a judgment call on what exactly a serious risk means. Now, a lawyer says there's no specific injury, illness, or condition that's mapped out right now in that new law.
You're trying to make the best judgment call that you can in any situation, and to compound that with the possibility of being charged as a felony if someone believes you made the wrong call, it's untenable.
Tennessee is now banning abortions as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. That's after a federal court lifted an injunction. But another stricter law is expected to take effect next month. This law would almost have no exceptions to get an abortion and make it a felony for doctors to perform the procedure. Now, President Joe Biden is in Madrid today for the NATO summit.
Yeah, ABC's Karen Travers has the latest on what the president's announcing as Russia's war rages on in Ukraine.
With the war in Ukraine now intensifying after recent Russian airstrikes on civilians, President Biden says the NATO alliance is proving it's more necessary now than ever before.
In a moment where Putin has shattered peace in Europe and attacked the very, very tenets of rule-based order, the United States and our allies are going to step up. Stepping up.
The president announcing the extension of some U.S. troop deployments in Europe, establishing a military headquarters in Poland, the first permanent American forces on NATO's eastern flank. The U.S. also increasing the number of U.S. Navy destroyers stationed here in Spain from 4 to 6, sending 2 additional F-35 squadrons to the U.K. and enhancing rotational deployments in the Baltics.
Together, our allies, we're going to make sure that NATO is ready to meet threats in all directions across every domain, land, air, and the sea.
There are currently 100,000 U.S. troops in Europe, including 10,000 in Poland, but no specifics from the president or senior officials on how large that permanent U.S. military presence will be in Poland, or how many U.S. troops will deploy to Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania.
We're going to continue to adjust our posture based on the threat in close consultation with our allies.
And the NATO alliance soon getting 2 new members. On the eve of the Madrid summit, Turkey dropping its objections to bids from Finland and Sweden, 2 countries on Russia's doorstep.
Their decision to move away from neutrality and the tradition of neutrality to join NATO alliance is going to make us stronger and more secure.
But it's not just Ukraine on the agenda. NATO leaders are also discussing challenges posed by China. And President Biden met with the leaders of South Korea and Japan to talk about the threat of North Korea. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Madrid.
Well, there is new hope this morning about those 2 Alabama men held captive by Russian forces and how they could soon come home. Alexander Drucky's mom says U.S. State Department leaders told her Russia might be willing to negotiate those men's release. Earlier this year, Drucky and Andy Tywin volunteered to go fight with Ukraine against Russia's invasion.
And that was great news to us that President Zelensky knows about them and wants to ensure their safety and is willing to negotiate or do what's needed to get them released.
You just heard there from Alexander Drucky's family saying that, of course, talking about Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, who says he's working to get those Alabama men home safely as well.
Well, advisors of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration are recommending a change to the current COVID-19 vaccine formula. The panel says there needs to be an Omicron-specific component for a booster. They say it will offer more protection to match the COVID strain spreading right now.
Booster doses of the index vaccine have continued to provide good protection. So it's more the added advantage of breadth that you would get from an updated composition.
Both Pfizer and Moderna have been presenting data of their updated versions of the vaccines to the FDA.
Can you think of any weather questions that you've always had but never known the answer to? I'm WAAY 31 meteorologist Grace Anello, and I'm here to answer those for you. Anello Answers It starts right now. Well, we're back again, and the question this week, what is Virga? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm meteorologist Grace Anello, and I'm here to answer that for you. I feel like that's a word that's used all the time, but sometimes it's not always clear what it means. So let's break it down. All right, your standard precipitation, we're going to start with that. So when you have an upper level cloud, a nimbus cloud that's giving you rain. So, of course, we're all familiar with this. The cloud becomes oversaturated, the rain falls through the air, and it reaches the ground. Now, virga, well, what is that? Well, it starts the same way. We still have a nimbus cloud. Nimbus means it's producing rain in the area, and those clouds do produce rain. Now, the change here is that when that rain is falling, it falls through an area of dry air. And what happens is the air wants to absorb all the moisture from that precipitation. So our rain actually gets evaporated and it never fully reaches the ground. This is a big thing when it comes to ideas like heat lightning. Well, technically all lightning is heat lightning. Really what you're seeing is an upper level thunderstorm with a little bit of virga. So you're clear and dry conditions on the surface, but really there's a whole storm brewing just above you. And that is virga and how it plays into your story. That's all for Anello Answers It this week. We'll catch you back here next week.
All right, Grace, thank you. Well, new details on a group of migrants found dead in a tractor trailer. What we now know is Mexico now joins that investigation into how they got across the border in the first place.
Plus, new testimony made during a public hearing on the January 6th Capitol riot. What an aide to the then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows had to say.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching WAAY 31 News with the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:13 and 2 people now charged with the deaths of 51 people found in a tractor trailer in San Antonio, Texas. Investigators say that trailer had recently entered the U.S. from Mexico and that those 51 people died of heat exhaustion. About 40 other people rescued from that trailer are now recovering at hospitals.
Really, Congress's inability to reform our immigration system is causing or is manifesting in a lot of ways that are simply tragic.
And Mexico leaders are now joining that investigation into how that trailer crossed the border with those people inside it. Well, federal investigators are right now trying to figure out what led up to that deadly train derailment in Missouri. 4 people killed, more than 40 others are in the hospital right now. This after an Amtrak train hit a dump truck at a railroad crossing. Investigators say it appears 8 cars actually jumped the track, and then that pulled, they say, most of the other cars making up that train over onto their sides.
New details on testimony made during a public hearing on the January 6th Capitol riot. An aide to the White House Chief of Staff says she was told former President Donald Trump tried to get the Secret Service to drive him to the Capitol after a speech at the Stop the Steal rally.
I remember leaning against the doorway and saying, I had an interesting conversation with Rudy, Mark. Sounds like we're going to go to the Capitol. He didn't look up from his phone and said something to the effect of, there's a lot going on, Cass, but I don't know, things might get real bad on January 6th.
And she also testified the former president knew that some people at his speech were armed. Now, Alabama's representative, Mo Brooks, says he's still not served a subpoena to testify. This is a representative from Alabama. Brooks was one of 5 Republican committee members subpoenaed. He says he will willingly speak if his terms are met. One of those terms is that it will be public when he does testify.
Right. Happening today, a jury expected to be finalized for the sentencing phase of the trial of that Parkland school shooting. A jury will decide whether Nicholas Cruz should get the death penalty or spend the rest of his life in prison. He recently, as you'll recall, pleaded guilty to 17 counts of capital murder there for killing people at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. That happened back in 2018. Opening statements for this trial, this penalty phase of this trial, expected to start next month. Well, the Justice Department now getting ready to take a closer look at the massacre at that school in Uvalde, Texas. The Department of Justice says the critical incident review team will start on-site visits to that school this week. Investigators interviewing survivors, collecting documents, and also reviewing law enforcement's response to that shooting as it unfolded again there in Uvalde, Texas.
Shocking video of lightning hitting a boat.
Yeah, what happened after the electrifying moment? Welcome back, everybody. Families abandoning their homes as a wildfire grows in California.
And CAL FIRE says at least 500 buildings are being threatened by that fire. Firefighters say they're attacking the fire from the air and ground. The fire has already burnt more than 500 acres in less than 24 hours. It's never easy seeing that video, Chris.
Yeah, to think that actually can happen anywhere, including here, and it's so dry, it's just scary to watch. Well, it's good to be weather aware. Before you head over to the water this weekend, though, you just might want to see what we're about to show you.
Oh, gosh,
Scary.
this is scary. So just ask these fishermen off the coast of Florida. Now look at this.
Oh,
you saw that.
you saw that?
That was lightning that struck their boat.
Here it comes again.
Oh my, ooh, that makes me like have chills.
They
The boat
are
was disabled.
so
The
lucky
Coast
to
Guard
be
actually
alive.
rescued all 7 people that were on board, but amazingly, no one was hurt. I mean, thank goodness. no
That
one was
had
hurt, but
potentially deadly written all over it as you watch that. So that they're lucky.
it's a good reminder, that can happen anytime there's a storm and you're on the water.
Yeah.
You have to be extra precautious.
They're not lucky. They are blessed, and God got a plan for them.
Yes, I could not agree more. Well, you guys are exactly right. That's very important. Stay safe, stay weather aware, especially if you're out on the water. All right, well, right now in Huntsville and our surrounding areas, we're not looking half bad. You guys are looking good this afternoon. Huntsville, we're talking 83 for your current temperature. Muscle Shoals, 86, and plenty of those white, puffy, fair weather clouds. Well, fair weather's in the forecast right now. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network, clear and dry, but that's not the case as we head through the rest of the day. Temperatures right now, most of us sitting in the low 80s. Moulton, you're a little bit warmer at 85. Scottsboro, you're at 81. Fort Payne, 76. So not too bad to start out our afternoon, considering we're almost at lunchtime. But our high temperature today will be in the low 90s, and we will have very isolated storms, meaning not all of us are going to see rain. By and large, not all of us are going to see rain, but those that do will have heavy downpours. So that means your gardening forecast, well, most of us do need to go ahead and water the roses and water the plants because, again, those storms will be isolated. So not all of us going to see that rain today. I would say bringing a watering bucket to the garden is probably a good idea. All right, well, let's walk through the radar for the rest of the afternoon. This puts us at about 4:30 this afternoon, and you can see most of our heavy storms are isolated to our south. Our northwestern counties really looking pretty good. Our southeastern counties, cloud cover there for many of us and storms in the forecast. As we push further through the dinner time hours, those storms follow along I-65 corridor north, and then they kind of dip west for us, so more towards the Shoals area by the time we get to 9 p.m. this evening. Again, not all of us are going to see rain. Many of us are going to have a partly cloudy, nice day today, but those that do see rain, it will be heavy downpours, but they will be brief. So maybe go inside for a few minutes, but it's not going to be a washout of a day for you. The good news is by about 10 p.m. and really even into overnight tonight, we do clear up for most of us, so you will have a peaceful night to head off to bed. So that means your evening forecast looks like this by 7 p.m. We're talking temperatures in the low 80s. Again, a little bit of a chance for rain there for some of our select areas there. And by the time we get to 9 p.m., we're talking upper 70s. So not too bad. All right, well, rain is not only in the forecast for today. It's following us all week and unfortunately into this weekend. But what we're expecting is between 1/2 inch and 1 inch of rain, which means that none of the coming days are going to be an absolute washout. Now, I want you to remember that as I show you your 4th of July forecast. Don't be mad at me. I'm just the messenger. There is rain in the forecast this weekend for your 4th of July. Temperatures hanging out in the low 90s. And again, not going to be an all-out washout. Maybe plan a couple minutes to go inside. If there is some rain there, have a plan B. But for the most part, your outdoor plans should not be affected. And take heart, not the worst news having some rain. North Alabama and southern Tennessee still in a drought. So any rain we can get is actually good for us. Well, high temperature today hanging out in the low 90s. The same can be said for tomorrow. And those isolated showers definitely on tap for North Alabama. The trend does continue as we head through the weekend and temperatures back in the 90s to start next week.
Grace, thank you so much. 11:23 right now. Actually, just turned 11:24. SpaceX fighting it out with 5G providers.
Why it says it could prevent you from connecting to its Starlink internet. Welcome back, everybody. 11:26 right now, and happening today, SpaceX getting ready to launch a commercial satellite.
A Falcon 9 rocket expected to launch from Cape Canaveral, Florida, around 4 this afternoon, Chris. The SES-22 satellite will help deliver TV and radio to millions of Americans and provide data transmission services. It will start operations as early as August this year.
I never get tired of seeing these launches.
I know, it does. It really never gets old. Well, SpaceX is fighting it out with 5G providers. Here's some drama. The company says certain radio frequencies for 5G could mean internet outages for Starlink customers. Starlink customers. SpaceX says Dish Network misled the FCC about expansion of their 5G network. So Dish says it's evaluating SpaceX's claims. So it looks like there's a problem between SpaceX, Dish Network, and Starlink customers.
I hope they can get that figured out.
Well, Virgin Orbit will launch a commercial satellite mission overnight.
Yeah, the launch will actually carry 7 satellites into orbit. Now, Virgin Orbit sends rockets to space on the back of a plane, so the plane is actually expected to take off from the Mojave Air and Spaceport in California around midnight.
I have a question for our viewers, if anyone knows, because we have the really smart people here. Can you ever have too many satellites in orbit? Is there a limit? Like, I feel like we're just constantly sending them up
I've read about things called like space junk, where like, you know, you run the risk of having to dodge things.
If they break and then they get...
And in space, things are moving so much faster that, you know,
I would love
someone
to email us if you have an answer for that. All right, coming up, advisors to the FDA are recommending a change to the current COVID-19 vaccine formula.
What the recommendation is to make that vaccine more secure.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching WAAY 31 News with the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
Welcome back, everybody. You are right now taking a live look over Huntsville. This is courtesy of our WAAY 31 Sky Camera Network. We could see, though, some spotty storms across North Alabama
I see some
today.
clouds there that look a little suspicious.
That is a beautiful view, though. So
it's
lush.
so beautiful.
This time of year when it's green, you can see so much from up above. It's just beautiful. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking with us for WAAY 31 Midday News, our second half hour. I'm Chris Tatum.
And I'm Megan Reyna. We want to start the second half hour with WAAY 31 Storm Tracker meteorologist Grace Anello. I was just saying the clouds look suspicious. I'm not the expert, though. I'm going to let you tell us if we're going to see some rain.
Well, I agree with you. Those clouds are suspicious. We're keeping an eye on them, Megan. All right, well, right now in Huntsville, like Megan said, some of those suspicious clouds got to, stay focused. But our temperatures right now in the low 80s and honestly not looking too bad at the moment. Maybe not perfect conditions, but not too bad. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network is dry and clear, so that's a good thing for us, but it doesn't stay that way all day long. Well, our temperatures right now across the northern part of the state, Fort Payne, you're a little bit cooler at 76 for us. At 83 in Huntsville, Muscle Shoals, you are at 86, leading the pack there, a little bit warmer. Well, by the time we get to about noon today, hitting your lunchtime, temperatures will have moved into the upper 80s, and then your late afternoon, we will be in the low 90s. That will be our peak heat for today. Huntsville, for our heat, we're talking 92, 94, low 90s for us. Moulton, same thing for you, so we will be warm. Well, I've got more coming up with your radar and what showers and storms you can expect this afternoon coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Grace, we thank you so much. It's right now 11:33.
And we have some new information here. State health leaders looking into whether a local doctor may have caused a woman's death by supplying her with painkillers. The Alabama Medical Board just temporarily yanked Decatur Dr. Sammy Beck's medical license. It says Beck had a sexual relationship with 21-year-old Caitlin Whitworth and that he wrote 5 opioid prescriptions for her in a span of 6 months. The commission will decide in September whether to permanently revoke Beck's license. 11:33 right now. Federal health leaders are trying to work around new abortion bans that more states are putting in place right now after Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court.
And yeah, the Department of Health and Human Services actually says right now it's working to improve patient privacy. Also working, it says, to make it easier for people to get abortion pills. Several states that still do allow abortion say they will now welcome people from other states seeking abortions.
We have filed a lawsuit that asks the courts to clarify that Wisconsin's 19th century abortion ban is not in effect.
And some cities, Megan, also right now trying to figure out how to still make abortion available to people who are seeking that service. Cincinnati, Ohio leaders will vote today on whether to make abortion available through the city's health insurance plan.
Interesting to see how different areas of our country are reacting. Well, in Alabama, the Human Life Protection Act makes it illegal for anyone to perform an abortion unless the pregnant woman's health is at serious risk. But that's leaving many doctors caught in the middle, forced to make a judgment call. What determines serious risk? And a lawyer we spoke with says there's no specific injury, illness, or condition that's mapped out in this new law.
You're trying to make the best judgment call that you can in any situation, and to compound that with the possibility of being charged as a felony if someone believes you made the wrong call, it's untenable.
And there's no longer restrictions at CVS for sales of emergency contraception pills. We're talking about things like Plan B. This change comes less than 24 hours after CVS put limits in place over increased demand. The company says sales have now stabilized, but they were seeing a surge there right after that ruling, Chris.
Well, 2 people are now charged with the deaths of 51 people found in a tractor trailer in San Antonio, Texas. Investigators say that trailer had recently entered the U.S. from Mexico and that those 51 people died of heat exhaustion. About 40 other people rescued from that trailer are now recovering at hospitals.
Really, Congress's inability to reform our immigration system is causing or is manifesting in a lot of ways that are simply tragic.
Well, Mexico leaders now joining the investigation into how that trailer crossed the border with those people inside it in the first place.
11:35 right now. The Florence Police Department needs your help. Investigators are trying to identify a person of interest they believe is connected to a recent vehicle burglary. You're taking a look at a picture of that guy. If you know who he is, have any information about the crime, they ask you to call Florence Police. Now in Jackson County, Scottsboro Police want your help. Investigators looking for who's responsible for this vandalism. This is to the Jackson County Park Playground bathrooms. They say it happened sometime between Saturday night and early Sunday morning. If you know anything, call police. I still can't wrap my head around why would vandalize a public bathroom that's for everyone.
And of course, this is all falling back on taxpayers to pay for those repairs.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Cassidy Hutchinson, a former aide to former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, says former President Donald Trump knew his supporters had weapons during the Capitol riot.
ABC's M. Nguyen has the latest from yesterday's Capitol riot hearing.
Explosive testimony from Cassidy Hutchinson, a top aide to former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows.
It was unpatriotic. It was un-American. We were watching the Capitol building get defaced over a lie.
She testified that not only did former President Trump know his supporters on January 6 had weapons, but that he wanted any armed protesters to march freely to the Capitol without going through metal detectors.
I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here.
Cassidy claims she was told by a deputy chief of staff that Trump insisted on driving to the Capitol after the rally and became furious when the agent behind the wheel refused to do so.
The president said something to the effect of, I'm the effing president. Take me up to the Capitol now. The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel.
The Secret Service now says they're prepared to give sworn testimony to respond to the allegations. One source confirming to ABC News that Trump was unhappy when agents wouldn't take him to the Capitol, but said agents would push back against any allegation that Trump assaulted anyone. Former President Trump disputed Hutchinson's testimony, calling it fake and saying he didn't know her. M. Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
And advisors to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration right now recommending a change to the current COVID-19 vaccine formula. That panel says there needs to be an Omicron-specific component for a COVID-19 booster. They say that would offer better protection to match the current coronavirus strain spreading across the country right now.
Booster doses of the index vaccine have continued to provide good protection. So it's more the added advantage of breadth that you would get from an updated composition.
Well, both Pfizer and Moderna have been presenting data on their updated versions of that vaccine to the FDA. Well, new hope for those 2 Alabama men held captive right now by Russian forces.
What family members say the U.S. State Department is doing to help bring them home. Welcome back. R. Kelly is expected to find out his fate today. The singer, convicted of 9 counts, including sex trafficking charges, is facing a lengthy prison sentence. Prosecutors say Kelly should get more than 25 years behind bars. Defense attorneys believe he should face a maximum of 10 years, and according to unsealed court documents, say the abuse Kelly dealt with as a child should account for a lenient sentence. We'll see what happens there.
Well, the Federal Trade Commission says it's suing Walmart. The agency says that's because Walmart allowed scammers, it says, to use its money transfer services. Well, the lawsuit claims the retailer did not properly secure the services. Those scammers apparently stole hundreds of millions of dollars from customers over a few years.
Hate those scammers, Chris.
Ugh, get so sick of them.
Well, there's new hope this morning. Those 2 Alabama men held captive by Russian forces could soon come home. Alexander Drucky's mom says U.S. State Department leaders told her Russia might be willing to negotiate those men's release. Earlier this year, Drucky and Andy Tywin from Hartsel volunteered to go fight with Ukraine against Russia's invasion. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky wants Russia taken off the United Nations Security Council. He called the Kremlin a terrorist state after Russia attacked a shopping mall, killing at least 18 people. President Joe Biden says the U.S. and NATO allies will hold Russia accountable.
Sometimes I think Putin's objective is just to literally change the entire culture, wipe out the culture of Ukraine, the kinds of actions he's taking.
President Joe Biden says the NATO alliance is more necessary now than ever before. And the president says the U.S. is deploying more troops to Europe.
Yeah, the U.S. will also establish a military headquarters in Poland. That establishes the first permanent American forces on NATO's eastern flank. The U.S. also increasing the number of U.S. Navy destroyers stationed in Spain from 4 now to 6. And NATO's chief says he is confident Finland and Sweden will successfully join the alliance. This after Turkey drops its objections for those countries to join. Their possible membership could be a hot topic during that NATO summit happening in Spain this week.
I'm so hungry. And look at that. Taco Bell testing out a surprising new collaboration.
Now the restaurant is adding Cheez-Its to its food. Ooh, I never had a bad Cheez-It.
Well, if you haven't had lunch yet, maybe you'll consider this, or maybe you'll just go to Taco Bell in general.
I think lunch is about 15 minutes away from me.
I know, same. Taco Bell is teaming up with the snack brand to revolutionize one of its products.
Yeah, the taco restaurant announced its latest tostada will have a giant Cheez-It inside. Ooh, I love
It just
Cheez-Its.
looks like it's on a giant Cheez-It.
I love it when that particular grocery store that does BOGO actually has Cheez-Its 2 for $1. Love that. So the Cheez-It is actually 16 times bigger than a normal Cheez-It cracker, but you can't get the new menu item just yet. Being tested at one location in California and being sold for $2.49. So Taco Bell also offering Big Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme,
I want to
by
try
the way.
that, but oh my gosh.
Get them on down here to Bama, and soon. So a robot could actually be making your next pizza.
Oh yeah, this is all thanks to a team of former SpaceX engineers. So they're creating a stellar pizza system. A fully automated mobile pizza maker can crack out a pie in less than 5 minutes. So maybe at the end of the show, we'll have a pie. If only. Well, the engineers say they're using every part of their space background to actually make this out-of-the-world pizza.
Products are designed with the reliability that is required to get humans to space. There's a team of rocket scientists designing kitchen equipment from scratch.
And more than 20 SpaceX employees are working on this new pizza machine. So, Chris, tacos or pizza, which one would you pick if you had to?
Honestly, right now, I would take them both.
Taco pizza.
Taco pizza. You know what? I wouldn't mind.
Talk about.
I could do a pizza with a Cheez-It crust.
Oh, that would be really good. I feel like people might be able to eat outside right now. They might be in the clear. We know pop-up storms could happen. We want to get a check of the forecast, of course, with Grace right now.
Yes. Well, I don't know if I'm with Chris on his Cheez-It crust. I might stick to garlic, but either way, whatever you're eating, you can eat it outside. We do have plenty of those white puffy clouds in the area. Gunnersville right now, we're talking low 80s for your current temperature. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network clear for the moment, people. We're looking good, but it doesn't stay that way all day long. I've got the timing for you in a second. All right, well, right now our temperatures across North Alabama, 83 in Huntsville. The same can be said in Decatur. Over in Haleyville, you're 84. So many of us in the low 80s, some of us starting to peak into those mid 80s, all moving towards an eventual high temperature for the day in the low 90s. Now, we will have spotty showers very, very isolated spotty showers, meaning that most of us will stay dry, but those that do see some rain will see heavy downpours. They will be large thunderstorms, plenty of lightning and thunder associated with those. Well, this means your gardening forecast actually says, yeah, you do need to water the plants because, again, many of us will stay dry. So giving it a yellow flower, for the day today just because of those isolated storms. But most of us still need to take the sprinkler out and water those plants to make sure those are still doing good today. All right, well, let's talk about the rain heading through the rest of the afternoon. We see rain really about 3, 4 o'clock in some of our southern counties. And then by the time we push to 5 o'clock, Coleman County and moving north along the I-65 corridor could see some rain and some showers in that area. These could be storms with, heavy downpours associated with them, a little bit of gusty wind, but not an all-out washout. As we push through the rest of the evening, those storms do track north and west for us, and they end up really almost pushing into Mississippi. So for the most part, if you're in our northwestern counties, a good day, except for some later in the dinner time hours where you could see that rain. If you're in some of our southeastern counties, cloud cover's with you here to stay. You have those rain chances earlier this afternoon, but then by dinner time, you are clear. Well, the good news is pushing through about 10:30, those storms do tend to calm down, and by around 11 o'clock tonight, really most of us are clear. So a little bit of clouds there still for our southeastern counties, but we are clear, which means if you want to get out and grill tonight for dinner, most of us should be able to do so. At about 5 p.m., we're talking temperatures in the upper 80s. Again, those isolated storms. By the time we get to 9 p.m., many of us are clear, and those temperatures there in the upper 70s. So not all that bad. Well, tomorrow, a little bit of a rinse and repeat. High temperature for the day will be in the low 90s. By the time we get to noon, we're talking mid 80s. And then a little bit after that, we do reintroduce that chance for rain again. Unfortunately, we do still have rain in the forecast for your 4th of July weekend. Not an all-out washout, but have a plan to go inside for maybe 30 minutes or so just until any passing storms can move out of the area. All right, so your 7-day forecast looks like this. Highs today in the low 90s. Same can be said for tomorrow. Those rinse and repeat of isolated showers. We cool off a little bit Friday, but then for your holiday weekend, we're back up into the low 90s.
All right, Grace, we thank you so much. Time right now, 11:52, and a local veteran has a brand new home.
The celebrity that gave him the keys to his house. We love this story.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:55, and Redstone arson leaders have a few extra bragging rights right now.
They sure do. They beat Madison County leaders during a friendly softball game last night, and we do mean friendly. It was all part of the Huntsville Madison.
It was
because
competition.
These are good people. I mean, they might get a little competitive, but they're still nice to each other. The Huntsville Madison County Chamber of Commerce actually hosted this during its annual Armed Forces Week at Toyota Field. Team Redstone took that game, but with victory with a 14-11 score. WAAY 31's very own Marie Waxel, you see her right there. She actually emceed that event and called the game. She sure did. One local veteran has a brand new house in Athens.
Yeah, Scott Barkalow actually got that house thanks to a local developer, country music icon Lee Greenwood, and the Helping a Hero organization.
Great organization.
Yeah, it is. Everything in that house actually custom built for Barkalow's unique needs. Unique because he lost his right leg while serving in Afghanistan back in 2003.
Just freaking overwhelmed. First time I found out about this, that feeling has not escaped me. I'm still overwhelmed and grateful and thankful to God.
Well, the Helping a Hero organization also giving away another home to a local wounded veteran in just a few months. So glad to see these folks who've given so much for our country getting something back.
Like I said, I love that organization.
I do too.
And well, your afternoon not looking all that bad. Temperatures for today topping out in the low 90s, and we will be dry until later on this afternoon and into this evening. Your 4th of July forecast, slight chance for rain, not going to be a washout. Still have your time outside, but just have a plan B in case you need to make a last-ditch effort indoor for a couple minutes.
All right, crossing your fingers. Avoid the rain. All right, 24/7 coverage you can count on, WAAYTV.com.
Have a great afternoon, everybody.